Hello guys, welcome to the video. So in this one, I want to talk about for loop. It is a very simple, very straightforward mechanic that allows us to do repetition of the code the specific number of times. It's like, telling your computer, do this task X amount of times, something like that. In this video, we're going to use it to create enemies, but for starters, let's imagine we want to say hello 5 times, okay? I'm going to open tower script. I'm going to open start method like that. And then let's say I want to do debug log, hello there, okay? And let's say I want to do it 5 times. So the first what comes to my mind is to do it like that. But that is kind of wrong, even though it will work. Imagine you need to do multiple things, multiple amount of times. You cannot extend your code just like that. That is wrong to do. So we're gonna do a for loop. And this is how you create a for loop. You type for, and then you can actually create it automatically by choosing this for loop over here. If this does not work for you, you can manually type what you see on the screen. It's going to work as well. Now, how it's going to work? Over here, you set in the first step, the index of a first step. And over here we have 0, so it starts with 0. Then for loop checks if this I, the index you've set, is lower than length value. A length value defines amount of steps. Let's say we're gonna have 5 steps over here. Once it did the code inside of a curly brackets, it's gonna do I++ to increase the index value. And next time when for loop runs, the I gonna be 1 because we did increase it with the I++, then it's still gonna check if I is less than 5, and if it is, it's gonna do something inside of a curly brackets. As example, let's do debug log, and I'm gonna do maybe a message number index number is, we're gonna do plus I, just like that. And let's go and save it. Let's go back. Let's go to play mode. And we can see we have 5 messages. Index number is 0, index number is 1, 2, 3, 4. Very cool. So we did something 5 times just by typing 1 line of code, which can be really useful in game development, telling you. Before we use it in practice, let's try to do something here. If you change I from 0 to 1, your calculation is going to start with 1. And now you're going to see index numbers from 1 to 4, because I over here is still set to I less than 5. Let's go back. Let's clear it and go to play mode. Now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want 5 to be included in this functionality, you can do less or equals than 5. And then it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But overall, it's not that important, because when you want to do something certain amount of times and number is not included there, for example, you need to create a bunch of enemies or calculate the enemies on the level or shoot some amount of bullets at the same time, you can just do for loop, and then you just set the length over here, and you don't need to change anything else. You can just set the length over here. And as example, let's create enemies. I'm gonna remove this start method, and I want to create a new game object for respawn of the enemies. We're gonna go here, we're gonna create empty object. I'm gonna name it as enemy creator, and then we're gonna need to give it a component of a script, new script, enemy creator. And then let's open this script. Most of the things we're gonna do in this video we did before with the different elements. For example, now we want to create the enemy, but before we created a bullet. So you probably already have idea how to do it, right? So that's why I'm gonna do a little bit faster than before. We're gonna type public game object, enemy prefab. Then we want to have a list for those enemies to keep sort of, keep them in one place. So we know where the enemies, and we can get reference to them and maybe calculate the distance or whatever it is. So we're gonna do public list. And I think we still can do it as a transform, so I'm gonna do transform enemy list. Wait, we have the same name over here, so it's not good to do it like that. Let's just name it as enemies, because we know it's a list. Okay, now let's make a public int number, amount to spawn. Okay, and let's say it's gonna be 4 by default. Then in the start method, we can do for loop, and for the length, we can use amount to spawn. So amount to spawn, and then over here, we're gonna do instantiate. I'm gonna do game object, new enemy, instantiate, enemy prefab. Then we need a position for this enemy, and we're gonna talk about position a bit later on. Let's just create them first. So as of now, I'm gonna use transform position. And then Quartonian identity. Very nice. Now, after we did create the enemy, we want to add it to the list, so we have a reference to it in the future. We're gonna do enemies, add, and we can do this because list can be changed dynamically. So we're gonna do enemies, add new enemy. Sorry, it is a transform, new enemy, add new enemy. And we're gonna type dot transform because this is a list of transforms. A new enemy over here is a game object. So we need to do new enemy transform, just like that. Now let's go back to Unity. Let's delete these 3 enemies over here. Let's take the first one and make it as a prefab, like that. Very good. Now let's go back to enemy. That was the first one. We're gonna delete it. Very good. Now we can safely delete enemy from the hierarchy over here and from the scene because we have it as a prefab. So I'm gonna delete it. And just for now, I want to switch off the tower. Let's switch it off. Now we're gonna take enemy creator. We're gonna reset the transform, and I want to bring it up a little bit, maybe 1 on the Y, because enemy is gonna be created at the position of the enemy creator. Okay. Now let's drag prefab into this field over here, enemy prefab variable, like that, and we can go to play mode and see what is going to happen. And boom, we have 4 enemies created at the position of an enemy creator. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And all of them were added to the list of enemies, which is very convenient for us. Now, next step would be to give them a proper position. I think we can just check what do we need for the position over here and then write these variables in the script. So look, for the Y position, I'm gonna choose one of the enemies. He's supposed to be somewhere at the ground, so I believe it's something like 0.75 for the Y, okay? Yeah, and for the X, I wanna give it a random position, so it will appear at random place on the board. Maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, just a random one. That will be very easy to do. We just need to define minimum and maximum value. For that, we can take enemy, move it on the Z over here. So maximum for the Z can be maybe 4. Let's move it back, and minimum for the Z can be -4. I'm pretty happy with that. Now for the X, I think we can use 4 as well. This is maximum and this is minimum value. Yeah, I think I like it. So let's go back to the enemy creator script and let's define minimum and maximum value every time we cycle through for loop. We're gonna do float random x equals to random range from -4 to 4. And then we're gonna do float random y equals to random range from -4 to 4. If you want, you can change the values just as experiment. Then we need a transform position over here, and transform position is actually a vector 3. So we can safely pass a vector 3 over here instead of a transform position. We're just going to declare a new local variable of a vector 3, We're gonna name it as new position, and it's gonna be equals to new vector 3. For the x, we're gonna use random x. For the, oh, wait a second, this should be random z. I'm so sorry. Yeah. For the y, we're gonna use 0.75. We checked that in Unity. And then for the z, we're gonna do random z, just like that. Okay, now we're gonna go back here and remove transform position and replace it with a new position like that. Very good, right? Now we're gonna save it and we're gonna go back to Unity. Gonna hit the play mode and see where enemies were created. Boom, like that. Now let's try again. Now it's like that, and we can try again. And now it is like that. Yes, I like it so much. Very good. Now we need to make tower work together with these enemies on the board, not the one that were in the list over here. For that, we can just go to the tower script, like that, and we can make a reference to the enemy creator over here. We can just make something like public enemy creator. And now, because we have this enemy creator over here, and list of the enemies is public on the enemy creator, we can safely use enemy list from enemy creator in calculations of a tower script. Now we're gonna go to this find closest enemy, and instead of checking enemy list, we're gonna do enemy creator dot enemies. And same goes for the find random enemy over here. Enemy creator enemies dot count. Also over here, enemy creator enemies, and also over here. Very good. Now it's supposed to work, and I want to go and see if it works, and then I want to show you how to clean this up. Over here we need to do it as well. Yeah, don't forget. Now check everything, make sure it is same as mine, and then let's go back to Unity. I'm gonna enable tower, and I just need to assign enemy creator over here, so we can drag it into this field. Now we're gonna go to play mode, and we can see we created new enemies, and tower is targeting new enemies. Very good. And this one is out of the attack range, I believe. Yeah, cool. Now this all works very well. We just need to clean this up because now we have a bunch of unused variables. We're gonna go to the tower script, and we can safely remove this list from here because now we're holding it on enemy creator. And actually it is a good idea to make this variable private because we know how it works, we know it works, and there's no really a reason to keep it exposed in the inspector. So I'm gonna make it as private now. And then there are a couple of more things we could do to clean this up, but maybe later on. As of now, let's go to enemy creator, and over here I want to wrap this into a method. This time I'm gonna use hotkey Alt Enter. And you could also type Control dot, this would work as well, but I prefer to use Alt Enter, and then you do extract method, and let's name it as create new enemies. Yeah, very well. Overall, there is some more to this, but as of now, this is pretty good. I think we can... Oh, there is an error message we can see. Very good. Let's replace it with enemy creator enemies. And yeah, we good. Let's save this and let's go to the next video.